Hey guys, it's Allison, and I just wanted to say how excited I am. This is going to be my first video, and this video is going to be about Parsons. Now, I know everyone who's in the art industry, when they hear Parsons, they think it's such a prestigious school that they can't get in. It's not necessarily true. You actually can get in. It's fairly, not simple, but it is simple. It's a very tedious but easy process. The first thing you need when you're applying to Parsons is your application. And the application consists of Parsons Challenge and a portfolio will both be submitted through Slideroom. And it's fairly easy. Rather than spending money to actually submit your work in, you can just upload it online, and then they'll get it that way. People have gotten their documents lost. Like, I personally have friends who fate at Parsons was almost non-existent because Parsons lost their documents and they didn't follow up with them until it was almost too late. But luckily they're at Parsons now, so luckily they got their information set out. But one thing about applying to Parsons that I realized was very big is actually being on top of everything. You must be on top of them, constantly calling, constantly emailing to make sure, hey, did you get this? Hey, did you get that? I recently submitted this. What should I do next? That is going to be a really big thing because it is a big school with a lot of people applying, so you must be on top of your work. So for the Parsons Challenge, I remember when I was in high school last year. I'm a freshman, by the way. I'm in my first year. I remember a year ago, well, a little bit more than a year ago, I remember sitting down thinking, what is the Parsons Challenge? And I was just looking at trying to find all these examples of what the Parsons Challenge was, and I just couldn't, it wasn't working. I didn't know what to do. I was thinking about doing stuff with nature and stuff like that, but then I was like, what pieces do I make out of that? Because the Parsons Challenge is to come up with a theme and make 3 creative pieces based off of that. And I feel like that honestly is the breaking point for one's application, because if the work isn't strong enough, they might not submit you because they feel like your creativity isn't there, which is something that's a little unfair, but it's also understandable. So eventually I procrastinated a lot. I waited till the night before the application was due to do my no, I didn't wait till the night before, kind of a couple of days before the application was due to do my Parsons Challenge. So for me, I'm going to show some pictures after this, but for me, I chose something that was talked about in my economics class a lot. What you think? Yeah, economics. Our class was split into 2. It was economics and US history based, kind of. I forgot what the actual name of the class was called, but it was stuff like that. Oh, politics, US politics. There we go. It was economics and politics, stuff like that. But basically we started talking about Boko Haram, the African terrorist group, and everything that's highly overlooked in the news and everything and stuff like that. And so it was something that was just brushed off in our class, but I went and did research on it, and I was actually really bothered by what I read, and it was something that I just stuck with. So that was my theme the week before the application was due, and I did 3 pieces based on that because I felt like it was something I was emotionally attached to. So I feel like for your Parsons Challenge, you must be emotionally attached to your topic, because you don't want to do something you're not that interested in, because then you won't bring out the best pieces you actually can. And that's something that's really important at Parsons, because you're going to be given these projects and everything, and you might not have a connection with it, but the best thing to do is find some way to have an emotional connection so you can actually put out your best work and get the best grade possible and have the best portfolio possible. For your portfolio, I highly recommend, I highly recommend, before you submit your portfolio, you go to a national portfolio day. I honestly would tell you that submitting your portfolio to any art college without going to National Portfolio Day is very, very risky, like extremely risky, because not all art schools want the same thing. So the thing with National Portfolio Day is that all the major top art and design colleges are there, and also some very smaller ones and everything. But the major ones are FIT, Parsons, Pratt, Syracuse is there. There's a lot of schools from California, Otis College, all those type of schools and everything, and they all want different stuff in their portfolio. Some of the smaller colleges you could probably get away with, because you could submit a portfolio that you probably was going to submit to Pratt and it'll probably be good enough, but they still have their own requirements. But for the major schools, such as, like, for example, like FIT, Parsons, Pratt, like even if your major is like me, like fashion design, not all those schools don't want the same thing. For example, FIT, they do not want, well, maybe I should start off with Parsons, but whatever. FIT does not want a lot of art-based pieces. They want to see the fashion. Like, they have a very specific requirement list of what you have to submit. You have to actually submit designs, because at FIT it's more technical based. They're not more based on the conceptual and everything. They're not based on the full, what's the word? The full development of a project. Is more the skills and the technical skills, which is great. But for someone, if you're more an artist where you're really behind the actual theme of the piece, then maybe Parsons is a place for you. And it's really important to go to Parsons at National Portfolio Day, because they will tell you, even though you are a photography major or a fashion design major, or you want to be in architecture, they want to see that you have 2D skill, like you can draw. They want to see that you can draw, that you have creative ideas. Like, that's really, really important. Creativity is such an important thing at Parsons, and that's something they want to see in your portfolio. And it's also something they want to see throughout your work. So along with that, like the things they're going to ask you for, like if you was to go to National Portfolio Day and they didn't like some of your work, they would tell you, hey, maybe you should add some still life and stuff like that, some paintings, very fine arts based work. But they also do want to see some of your own work in there, but most of the work should be focusing on the still life to show that you can actually draw. But then it should also show that you're actually really creative. Sorry. It should also show that you're actually really creative, because that's something that would set you apart from someone else. And for example, like just Pratt and Parsons, they want completely different things. Like, not necessarily, but they do. Like, the way they come about it is very different. Pratt is very, 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 very big on the actual the actual skill. Basically, they want to know that you're one of the best. I got into almost every college besides Pratt, and I applied to Columbia, which I don't understand why. I knew I wasn't going to get in, but Pratt, honestly, like, I couldn't tell you what they want, because I don't have the skill set. I honestly believe I don't have the skill set to get into Pratt, but it's not one of the best for fashion design anyway, so it's just like whatever. But yeah, like National Portfolio Day is such a huge thing. They will honestly tell you everything that's wrong and right about your work. It's not always negative, sometimes it's positive. And sometimes, on a rare occasion, you can actually get accepted right there on the spot, depending on how great your portfolio is. It is very, very, very rare, but I have heard of it happening before and stuff like that. So that's something also to consider, and probably another reason why to go. And when you do go, I recommend you go well beyond your senior year. Like, go way before then, honestly. Like, you should start thinking about this stuff your sophomore year, and that would show you a lot. When you go to National Portfolio Day, you will see some of the most amazing work ever. If you live in New York, the National Portfolio Day will be at the Javits Center, or if you live anywhere around New York, that's where you'll be able to go, because they don't have it in like smaller cities, I believe. They only have it in major cities and like some of the regions and stuff like that. So I know New York is a very big hub, but over there, it's like, I will honestly say I'm not the best. Like, when it comes to painting, when it comes to drawing, I am not the best. But I was honestly inspired going because I seen some amazing work, some amazing creativity, and I was like, just like, wow, I didn't even know people could do this. Like, it's so great. And that honestly is what inspired me. And yeah, guys, like, you just really need to go. Like, it's something like you'll never forget. Like, some of the work you see there, I still remember some of the best paintings I ever seen in my life was there. Some of them is honestly better than the students I see at Parsons now. But hey, what can I say? For your SATs, ACTs, standardized testing, I would honestly say yes, work your butt off to get the best score possible. But your scores aren't all that important, honestly. Like, it's a requirement, but it's not that required. Because I honestly know people who did terrible on their SATs and they still got into Parsons. So that means if you know you have low grades, you need to have an amazing portfolio. And if you have an okay portfolio, maybe you should probably try to show some more creativity and have amazing grades. But if you fall somewhere in between, you have to honestly pick a side. Like, do I want some higher grades or do I want the better portfolio? But I honestly say we'll go with the better portfolio because that's something Parsons is really big on. You could have great grades. I had really great grades, but I feel like my Parsons challenge is what got me accepted into Parsons, not my grades. But the high grades did give me a little bit of scholarship money, which was very helpful because the girl is broke. Okay, because I am broke, so the money really did help out. So if you do have high grades, don't just think, oh yeah, I have high grades, but it's not going to be worth something here. It honestly will. You might get some more scholarship money and everything than other people if they had lower grades. I know that's the case for me now, but it also is depending on your financial need. And even though Parsons is need blind, quote unquote, whatever. Oh, the slide room. So when you're submitting your work and everything for the slide room, you're gonna have to write these descriptions for it. The same thing for your Parsons challenge. It's an artist statement. That's the point where you really wanna like drive home what your creative mark is, honestly. Because if you have something that looks mediocre, let's just say it looks like a ball. If you go and say, yeah, this ball represents what I see in myself. I see something that's blank. I see something that it's a blank canvas. So therefore I have the ability to create my own destiny and I'm trying to follow this path. And then you could just like take that one little ball and take an image of that and bring another image into the picture where you drew a line and there's like another line. Then you can say this is me blocking out my future so I can see where I'm going. How am I getting there? The roads I'm taking, like, is it different pathways? Like, you could honestly explain all of that into that artist statement or into the descriptions on slide room, and then it would honestly make your work look but it would make it sound so much more creative. That's honestly, the descriptions are very, very important. Like, sometimes a piece can speak for itself, or this just the title of the piece can speak for itself. But if you know you have a piece that doesn't look all the best it can, or it honestly is just a regular piece, you could try and make it something more. But they do have regulations based on it. Just read things. Just read everything and try to really describe what you're doing, because that's something at Parsons everyone has a problem with now. We're all really great artists, but none of us, when it comes to actually talking about your art, that's something where we all lack at Parsons. A lot of us have this problem where we can't describe what we're doing or talk about why we're doing it. The teacher asks, oh, why did you put this color? We're like, because I like this color. Like, and then a lot of times that's not good enough. So if you could honestly explain why you're doing something, why you chose this color, why you did that honestly would set you much farther than the next person, if you understand what I'm saying. Going to Parsons is really based on your portfolio. Like, I will honestly say that, like, it is easy if you know you have a lot of great work. And if you go to the National Portfolio Day, then they'll make it easier by telling you which pieces are probably on your portfolio. But if not, it will be kind of hard. Like, I know I said it was easy. Like, it was hard for me, but over time, like as it kept going on, like as I kept gathering all the stuff I needed for my application, it eventually got easier. The hardest part was the portfolio, honestly. That was the hardest part because I was a new artist. I didn't have a lot of work. Like, I honestly was creating work just for my portfolio. Like, I didn't have anything besides those pieces that I was creating, so it was just harder for me to develop all these pieces within like 2 months, and it being like a world-renowned school quality for an application. Like, that's the hardest part. So if you're a sophomore or you're a junior in high school and you're watching this now, please start creating work earlier. And if you're not, if you already have a whole bunch of great work, great for you. But the hardest part about that is going to be picking out your best pieces that actually make a statement and not ones that's just actually pretty.